everybody. Happy Friday to you. So excited to be back here for another episode of The Breakthrough Show. I'm your host, Jessica Dugas, and today we have an extraordinary guest who's become a new friend of the Breakthrough Show Network. I've had the opportunity to sit and have a virtual coffee with her often on Saturday mornings. Our guest is a highly experienced real estate investor with over 40 years in the industry. She has engaged in various aspects of real estate investing, from wholesale and flipping to long-term and short-term rentals. We've gotten very accustomed on Saturday morning to hearing like the tales of real estate from her perspective, which is a lot of fun. She is also the founder of Groovy Georgia Properties, LLC, and mentors others on their journey towards financial independence. Raise your hand if you want that, through her affordable real estate investment program specifically designed for women. She is a powerhouse, and we are so excited to share her from our little coffee spot to all of you here on the Breakthrough Show today. So without further ado, let's put our virtual hands together and welcome Jess J. Williams to the show. Welcome, Jess.
Hey, Jessica.
So excited. Well, I'm excited that you're going by Jess and I'm going by Jessica, so we don't confuse the people today.
Yes. Yeah, we don't want to confuse anybody.
No, we don't. But I love it. I was so excited when you said yes to doing the show, because I feel like when we get together on Saturdays, we just get these little, I don't know, little glimpses into the world of real estate and what it's really like to do everything that you do. And so I'm excited to dive into it today. It's going to be fun.
Great. I'm excited too. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Miss Brittany's out there. She says, happy Friday. Excited to have you here, Jess. Teresa's here this morning. Good to see you guys today or this afternoon. So let's start out and share with everybody. It mentions Georgia, but you have properties in different places. I think you just bought a property in Florida as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I lived in Florida for the last actually 23 years. And I just moved to Georgia about a year ago. So Florida is still, one of my loves. So yeah, I have property in Florida, but I live in Georgia, which is my home, where my family was from, where I was born, and kind of, back home, and it feels really good. So yeah, the name of my company is Groovy Georgia Properties, but I can invest anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's part of the freedom of real estate and investing. Like, you got a whole world to conquer, Jess.
I do. Yes, I do. And I'm going for it.
I love it. So let's start out with this. The show is called The Breakthrough Show. When you hear that word breakthrough, what does that mean to you?
That's a really good question. I don't know if you noticed on my Facebook page, but the top of it said your breakthrough awakes.
Yeah.
Did you notice that before I even met you?
It was a sign. It was a
sign. So then when I met you, and then oh my goodness, her show is called The Breakthrough Show. So breakthrough, especially lately, of course, I think people have breakthroughs throughout their lives, but mine has really been over the last year, lots of changes, lots of just decisions to change.
Right.
And starting with this year, I was reading Jen Sincero's book, Bad. I don't know if we can cuss on the show. Bad, ASS.
Go ahead. No, you can go ahead.
You're a badass. That's her book, her title, not mine. You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. So I saw her on a podcast, is what it was. Yeah. And she was so inspiring. And her words were, you need to take hell-bent on glory kind of action. And that resonated with me so much. And that was right before the first of the year, when I really wanted to up my game. Grant Cardone talks about 10X, like really up in your game.
Yeah.
So I decided this year was this breakthrough year. And it was taking just massive action, no excuses. Deciding exactly what I wanted, what I needed to change, wrote it all down, and then went into it. Just happened to work into Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within weekend, which is all about breakthroughs. So for me, breakthrough is I almost think it's like a decision that you want to change something and and break through those old habits and those old limiting beliefs.
Yeah. I love that you use the word decision, because we talk about it often here being a choice. Like that's why we are so focused on community, is creating like the right climate for breakthroughs, if you will, like that support and everything else. So many people, I mean, can it just happen? Yes. But imagine how much more powerful it can be if we cultivate it, if we make the decision to break through, and then it might not be so painful either.
Well, exactly. And then the other trick too is to visualize what you want, so that it isn't so scary. Because sometimes when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, it's scary, and there's no doubt about that. Some people can't handle it. But if you can visualize it, which is really the law of attraction is all about that, visualizing what you want, practicing being in that state. And then once it starts happening, it's not as scary.
Right. Absolutely. I see another one of our friends out in the audience, who I actually was introduced to you by. Sharon Tarago Walters is here. Yes. Brittany said, I love that so much for you, just about the breakthroughs and it being where you are this year. And we see that all the time here. Those little synchronicities of, somebody will find us and be like, just yesterday, Giancarlo came up and he said, I've been thinking a lot about whales, and we have this huge whale mural right by where I live. And so we just met, and it was just very, very synchronistic. I love it.
I love that. And I don't believe there are any coincidences. I mean, these are synchronicities. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I'm excited. I have so many questions for you, and I know that our audience does as well. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be back to dive into Jess's story, law of attraction, real estate, all that good stuff. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
Welcome back to The Breakthrough Show. It is Friday, everybody, June 14th, 2024. We are here with Jess J. Williams talking about investing in your legacy today. I'm so excited to have you here. And I want to start by asking a little bit about your story, how you even got into the world of real estate. Did you imagine this is where you would be?
Oh no, you can imagine 40 years ago. I was 20. Well, I'll be 63 on Tuesday, so it was early 20s. You never know what life is about and where it's going to take you.
Yeah.
I got married young. Got married at 19, and my father was a used truck dealer. So I've had this entrepreneurial spirit has always kind of been in me. And then we started buying and selling cars, and buy a car, fix it up, sell it.
Right.
And then it went to mobile homes, buy mobile homes, fix them up, sell them. And then we, I think it was, do you remember Robert Allen? No, was it Robert Allen? No, Carlton Sheets. Do you remember those commercials long time ago?
Oh my, that was a memory unlocked. Holy cow.
Know, right? Yeah. So I remember thinking, well, that sounds interesting. And, so the Carlton Sheets about investing in real estate. And so we decided to check it out, and bought our first little house and fixed it up, and then sold it. And I was 23 years old, and we made $12,876, something like that.
Wow.
Back in the day. And that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
For me. So I was kind of hooked, and then just kept doing it, and not full time consistently, but my husband at the time went and left his job and went to work for a contractor, and I left my job and went to work for a real estate sales broker as the secretary, so we could learn the business.
Yeah.
And so that helped us a lot on the journey.
Yeah. Yeah. What is it that you think, because you've been in obviously different kind of sales, like you talked about cars and mobile homes. What is it specifically about real estate that appeals to you?
Well, what's good about real estate is that you can do it along with other things. Like I've had other businesses. I've owned a Merle Norman cosmetic studio. I was an author coach. I've been in I grew up in Dover, Delaware, and the only thing we knew about the racetrack was to stay away from it, race weekend. But then, once I was divorced, I started going out and had a ball on race weekend, and then went to races and got pit and garage passes, and I loved it so much, the business of it, that I started my own business involved with NASCAR. Stop
it. I did not know that about you.
I did. And I even got licensed by NASCAR. I sold things in a lot of different souvenir shops, and like Charlotte Motor Speedway, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Texas Motor Speedway. So starting from absolutely nothing. So again, I'm just getting off track. But anyway, so I've done many things over the years along with real estate, because if you say, well, they say the average is $50,000 per flip. So you can imagine you don't have to do too many a year. And I'm not saying that I make 50,000 every flip. I do a lot of smaller deals, but but I'm just saying you don't have to do a lot a year to make a really good living. So, if you do one or two a year, you still have time to do other things. That's one thing I love about it. Plus, I'm a Gemini, and I get bored really easily. Yes. So there's always something exciting going on, something different. There's just so many ways to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I think too, and I get that completely, because I think that's air signs in general, where like we need that movement forward.
Yes. Yes. And like my sister was a 9-to-5. She had to have that security, worked at a bank 9 to 5. That I could not do that. I mean, that would drive me nuts. And what I did would drive her nuts,
Right.
So I think, it just depends on somebody's personality, but mine definitely, that's what I need for sure.
Right. Right. So I want to kind of dive in a little bit to some of the specifics about real estate investing, because you kind of hear things, but then if you don't talk to somebody in it, you don't really know. So the first question I have is about the financial aspect of it. What does it really take, like, honestly, to start investing? Do you need to have a lot of money saved up? What about your credit situation? Like, talk to me about that.
Okay, so all of that doesn't matter. And when they talk about no money down, you literally can buy houses with a property with no money down. And as a matter of fact, I have bought most of the properties I bought with none of my own money down. Now that doesn't mean you don't need a down payment. That means you don't have to use your own money necessarily. So for instance, you can find something that offers owner financing. Let's say, I just bought something recently, just a little lot, a commercial lot, and they were asking 3,000 down. And so, I paid them 3,000, and now I have a mortgage with them. They're holding the mortgage, which is just like a bank, and I just pay them every month. So, and in another case, like if owner says that they will hold the financing, but they want 20% down, then you go to what's called a private lender or a family member or someone who wants to make a good return on their money. Like I've paid up to 14% for short-term money to, let's say, if I'm buying a house, going to fix it up and sell it, that usually is well within 6 months. So if you're doing it quickly, it doesn't matter how much interest you're paying, but you're getting interest from maybe family members and there are so many in this business, people that lend money. That's what they do. That's how they make their money. Yeah. So you do not have to have your own money. You have to have the knowledge. And then there's something else called wholesaling, where you don't have to have any money at all. What you basically do is get a property under contract, and you find an end buyer, and you put whatever you want on top of it and make the difference. So for instance, I'm sorry, my glasses keep sliding down. So for instance, there was one that I found in what's called driving for dollars. So you drive around and you look for houses that have all the grass growing up. You know what they look like, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you go into the county property appraiser's office, look for the owner's name, search the owner's name, get their contact information. And, so that's what I did. And then this one owner got back to me and said that his mother passed away in the house and he lived in another state. They were not close. He was going to let it go back to whatever it was, the county or whatever for back taxes. He was basically going to walk away from it. And it was in bad shape. Wow. It was really, really in bad shape. But I was able to offer him money, which he was going to totally walk away from. Yeah. And I was able to find a buyer for it, and I made a really good profit. So without putting any of my own money in it. So it's absolutely possible. And I do, that's one thing I teach people how to do too.
Right. Well, I'm glad you teach, because I think for that, that's how many of us learn. That's why we're here watching this show today, by hearing from other people. And when I go to Google things, I get very confused. Like,
yes.
To that. Nancy's joining us. Happy Friday, Nancy. Good to see you today. Let us know if you guys have any questions for Jess as we're having this conversation as well. But you mentioned knowledge, and that's my next question: is how much do you need to know? Because I'm thinking in my head, okay, if I see, let's say I see a property for really inexpensive, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can swing this. We can make it happen. But then I feel like, what if I'm wrong about how much it takes to flip it, and then I lose money on the sale? Like now I'm horrified.
That's You're not the only one. That's what
Okay,
everybody,
good.
okay, that's what almost everybody thinks. Well, what if, what if, what if?
Yeah.
And you know what? And it's possible, yes, you could lose money. But the thing is, and it's all about calculated risks, right? Just like anything else in life, you kind of have
Right.
to step outside your comfort zone. But
Mm.
there are so many YouTube videos about, how to flip, how to look for a good deal, how to get money, just communities, Facebook groups on real estate investment, and just learning. And just, if you just want to do it and just kind of just immerse yourself in it, you get to know, you kind of get a gut feeling of what to do. But, nobody knows exactly. Like, I've been doing it for 40 years. I don't know exactly what's going to happen when I buy something, or, how much money I'm going to make, or, but I mean, I have the personality, I have a high tolerance for risk. And
Yeah.
some of my friends are like, I freak them out a little bit, I think. But
It's fun. It's fun. Freaking out the friends a little bit.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh gosh. But anyway, but I have a high tolerance for risk. And
Yeah.
I think if you don't, you might not be good at real estate. You might be good working in the bank. But if you have a little bit of tolerance for the risk, the rewards are really, really good. You can make as much on one or two real estate deals as you make an entire year working for someone else.
Right.
So I think it's definitely worth the risk. But yes, there are risks.
Yeah. I think what you're offering, like saying, like, look, being a part of community is important to like learn as much as you can. I see so much value in that. And I'm thinking too, like bringing people together who do have different strengths might be a great asset to real estate as well, because my husband and I have talked about it the last few years of this being something that we want to do. I am for sure the let's just go fly off a cliff person. And my husband is a let's make sure we're good. Let's be grounded. And he has years and years and years of sales experience as well, which is huge, would be a great asset. But we have those differing personalities that I'm just like, oh, pretty, let's go. And he's just not like that.
Yes, I do. I get it. But see, I don't have anybody to say, well, you really ought to think about that, so I don't have anybody to do that. So I just go for it,
I would be in so much trouble.
I wouldn't advise you doing it. I'm just saying, I don't have that person like that voice of reason.
Right.
I just don't have it. So, I just kind of jump in and do it.
Yeah. See, I don't have the voice of reason inside me either. That's why the universe gives me people that have a voice of reason, because I don't. Nancy said you need a good poker face and big girl panties to do real estate.
That's really good, Nancy. That's really good.
I love it. Okay. So we've talked about the money part. We talked about the knowledge part. Now, obviously we know logistically that each deal is going to come with its own checklist of things that need to be done, that some projects are going to be harder than others. But what has been your most challenging deal that you've done that you've is it really like how we see on TV where you have to get in there and sweat out in the heat for months on end?
Yes.
Oh.
And sometimes, and then sometimes, I'll do what it's called a quick flip, which is what I do more now. Just do a quick flip, and just basically, a lot of times I get things that are just trashed, like hoarders, or just really just need to be cleaned out. Yeah. And a lot of times, if you just clean something out and put a coat of paint on it, you can make money. I mean, that's just because usually these are so bad. Mm-hmm. There was one time, all I did, this house was absolutely disgusting. It hadn't been lived in years. The ceiling, it had been rained in for years. The ceilings were falling down. Wow. It was bad, but got it for $20,000. The only thing I did was I hired somebody to put in a beam because one of the beams was compromised on the ceiling. And I paid $500 for somebody to do that. And I sold it for around 40,000, I think. Now,
wow.
Because I took care of the other stuff is cosmetic, right? But structural things, that scares people, structural.
Right.
So, but yes, I mean, in the beginning, I used to do all the work. Not all the work. I used to do a lot of the work myself, because, the more you hire somebody to do, the less profit you make. So I'm a good painter. I've redone hardwood floors. I've done drywall. I've just done just about everything. But, at some point, because I used to paint till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, not think twice about it. Just go, go, go. But as you get older, like, I just can't and don't want to, right? So
as you start to need a crane to get it back up off the floor.
Yes. And then I developed vertigo. So now, I look up, I've got to sit down. So anyway, So now, I'm okay with paying somebody to do the work and make a little less money. Yeah.
I think that's good to remember. And obviously that would be like hiring out as part of the project is something that you would have to, weigh as you purchase the property. I'm assuming to go, okay, how much more out of my pocket is this going to be?
That's right. You got to figure out how much you're going to pay to fix it up. And, another challenge sometimes is finding someone that'll fix it up or show up or do it at a good cost, but all those things it works itself out, things get done. Yeah.
And then you're available to hold people's hand through this process as well.
Yes. Yes.
Love that. Nancy mentioned, she said, I bought my home in an online auction. Wow. It was a wild trip, but I did good.
Good, Nancy. Wow. You're talking about, I did that back in the day, but I won't do it now because there's so many unknowns in an online auction. But and then back in the day too, it was on the courthouse steps, not online. So you'd have the list from the newspaper. You'd have to drive around to all these different places. But by the time it got to sale, it was usually paid off. So it was a lot of work. Now it's online, which is better, but you still usually can't see inside. You got to make sure that there's you're not taking on the mortgage or some liens or whatever it is. So wow, good for you, because that.
She said she did walk through and see it first, so that makes me feel a little bit better.
Oh yes, definitely. But it's still good for you. I mean, that's a big deal.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things I see like that where I'll see like an auction or something and it starts out really cheap and then you get excited, but then the little realist, aka my husband, will be like, well, how much work has to go in that though? Right. So that's fun times. So I wanted to ask you about similar to the auction thing. Here locally, we live in a very historic area, and so there's a lot of like really old homes. The home that we're renting right now was built in 1880, and so like these are old homes. Like there's some that you pass that they have little plaques on them. The oldest one I've seen was 16 something. Like,
wow,
we're talking like beautiful historic energy here. Yeah. However, there's a lot of those properties. It's so sad that there are these beautiful historic homes and they were just let go.
Yes.
And so the city, I guess I heard, has some kind of program for people who want to bring those old homes back to life. Like, do you feel like something historic like that is more risky than others because you're dealing with maybe those more structural things?
Absolutely, yes. Now, if it's something that you want to buy for yourself and fix up and put that love and money into it, oh my gosh, yes. I love history. I love old houses. Yeah. But to try to fix one up to sell, it's like I don't know if you saw the Money Pit, but it's like you fix one thing and something else happens, and then you fix that and something else happens, and then you got all that old plumbing and all that old electric and plaster walls I bought a little office building downtown Sylvania where I live. Just, it's a small town. But it's an older building, and which I love. But the plaster just kind of crumbles, and then once you start working on like taking that down, then I mean it's like raining plaster, right?
Yeah.
So it just creates, I don't know, little different problems. But I think definitely if it's something that you want to do for yourself, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you probably get a good price on it.
Right. I mean, I thought of something like that in this area because we're so close to the water and everything. Something like that would do really good as like a bed and breakfast or something like that, because we love that kind of thing in New England up here.
Well,
apparently.
yes. And the other thing too now is co-housing, which is really big right now. So like, for instance, I actually intentionally was looking for a place to be able to have a Golden Girls type of community.
Yeah.
And so, that's what I've started here where I live. And so I had my first Golden Girl move in March 1st. Yes. And she's awesome. And so right now I have room for 2 more. And so that is another way of making money on real estate. Instead of just renting to one tenant, you're making more money from the same property.
Right.
And I'm going to be doing the same thing with the office building, doing an office share. And it makes it more affordable. And so, when I was saying there's different ways of making money in real estate, obviously one is keeping and renting, and then one is doing a flip. Now, when you're keeping, this is the way, when you're talking about building a legacy and leaving things for your children, this is the way. Really, real estate is an amazing way to do that, because let's say you're 30 years old and you buy 10 houses and you have them rented out, and they're paying, basically the rent's probably going to pay the mortgage, but it might not give you any extra. But in 30 years, when those houses are paid off, you have 10 free and clear houses that somebody else paid for, right? So now you have free and clear houses. Now, let's say $1,000 a month, and you have 10 houses. That's $10,000 a month, free and clear. I mean, besides taxes and other things, but still, $10,000 a month, free and clear. And then you're leaving your children now 10 free and clear houses.
Right.
So, and that's the way wealth is built, really. And you see a lot of the big wealthy people made their money in real estate. And a lot of them keep it because of real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a video the other day on Instagram similar to this conversation about real estate and being able to pass that on to your children. And it's kind of like, it's this thing that I wish I would have thought of 20 years ago when I started having children, because and that's my next question. The market is obviously a lot more different now than when you first got into real estate. Do you feel like the market itself is a lot more risky right now? Like, what's your take on the current climate in real estate?
That's a really good question, because I don't think there's ever really a bad time to buy real estate, because let's say right now, I mean, I would say that the prices are at the top of the market. But let's say the prices go down. Well, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter, because unless you sell, you don't lose any money.
Right.
So you keep it, you rent it out, and then eventually it's gonna come back up. A lot of wealth is made when the prices are down. So they say, to get ready now, because prices, they have to adjust. They have to level. And to be ready to buy real estate when that happens, when it's back down, because it goes up and it goes down. But I don't think there's ever really a bad time, because even now there's still deals to be made out there. And if you buy it at the right price, even if it crashes tomorrow, you're okay, because you don't pay top dollar. You look for those
Right.
deals that need work, or, that has some type of distressed owner, like maybe they're getting a divorce, or maybe somebody left an inheritance and it's in another state, or a probate. I mean, there's just a whole lot of different ways to help people in a situation where they don't know what to do, especially if the house is in really bad shape.
Mm.
So I
Yeah,
like
that
to
makes
help.
sense.
I like to help too, not just to make money, but to help people out of a situation where they don't know what to do.
Right. Right. I mean, it's you do, as you were talking about hunting around, driving around and looking for those
Driving
places.
for dollars.
You do see those often. And the horrible thing, when we moved back here to this area, I drove by my grandparents' old house, which, by the way, friends, that is a mistake. Don't drive by a house that is sentimental for you 20 years later. Don't do it. Just don't. But the people that live there now, they do not take very good care of it. They're there. I know that they're using, but it's hard to see that sometimes, like a beautiful home that's just
Yes.
like
Full of memories for you.
Yes.
Yes.
And I heard they knocked down a wall. So I am convinced my grandma's haunting it. That's what's happening over there. So, but I love your perspective on that, though, of being able to help people, because sometimes people do come into these properties or something, and they just, maybe they've inherited it and they're like, I can't juggle this and everything else.
Absolutely. And a lot of times, most of the time, they don't know anything about real estate. If it's, let's say, grandma died and she left everything she's ever owned in the property, and it hasn't been maintained for 30 years, realtors don't want to usually get involved with something like that. And so you basically do have to find an investor, and hopefully you can find one that does care and isn't just about the money. But yeah, if especially if it's an inheritance in a different state, they just don't know what to do. So I like to help.
Yeah. That's tough. And you come in and save the day, Jess. That's what
I try.
That's what you do. Brittany said, my childhood home was gorgeous and now it's completely trashed and horrible. It's hard. I'm sorry. We're giving a traumatic experience here today.
I know, right?
But it is hard to see that, And
I hate seeing any house like that. It just, and lately I've seen a couple poems about houses. Houses need to be loved. They need to be lived in. If they don't, they die and they go back to the earth, and nature takes over. And it's just so sad to see those houses that are those sad houses,
Right.
I want to take them and fix them up and show them love, and and get them a new family in there, and show them some love.
Yeah. Even this house that we're renting, it was an old historic home that was split into, there's 4 apartments in the house. And what happened was they bought the home really cheap, and then they got a rehab loan so that they were able to, it ended up, there was foundation issues. So all of the money that they had to put in the house went to make sure that it didn't crumble to the ground, fix the foundation, which still needs work. But they put it in there and there was nothing left. Like that's how come our rent is cheaper than most places around here, because they weren't able to update the inside.
Yes.
So it's all old stuff in here. It doesn't bother me any because I don't care. But that's something I imagine that you have to be careful of, is like we said, that how much is going to go into it.
Right. And that's why you usually will get a property inspector to check everything out before you purchase. And it's well worth the money.
Right. Absolutely. Nancy said hers appeared that it was coming off the foundation, but it was an illusion and they had gone into default and the bank took over and she did her homework, she said.
Wow. Very good, Nancy.
It's good that it was able to work out. So I want to talk for a minute about, you mentioned going to Tony Robbins event and everything. What are some of the things, the tools that you use from a personal development perspective to keep you going through some of the more challenging times in real estate?
That is a good question. Because listen, mindset is everything. You can look at something and think it's bad, look at something and think it's good, and usually you're right either way. I mean, mindset has a huge part of how successful you can be in anything, real estate or anything else. So when I've done a series called Think and Grow Rich in Real Estate Investing, because it's like the book Think and Grow Rich, right? You think, it's how you think. And that's how I do coaching too. It's like you have to believe that deals are out there.
Right.
So, if I have people saying all the time, well, yeah, but my area is different. My area is full. There's too many investors in my area. There's no money out there. I don't think there's any money. Nobody's loaning money. And it's all a lie, right? It's just what they tell themselves. And I have to, be the one that says, that's where your negative beliefs, that's where your limiting beliefs are coming in. And, and I have to do the same thing with if something doesn't go exactly how I want it to go. I have to remember, first of all, I really do believe everything happens for a reason, good or bad. Yeah. And so, I'm trying to think of a perfect example of what I thought was going to be, and then what wasn't, but turned into something else. Yeah. Because I know, it happens all the time. Gosh, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. So
it's just it just is with the flow at this point. Like we just know that things happen sometimes. I think.
And see, that's the other thing too. And my friends and Sharon and my friends will tell you that I used to get like really uptight about timeline if things don't happen in my timeline, and it never does in real estate, ever does. And so you're just being unrealistic if you think it's all going to go the way you want it to go. So, well, here's a good example. So I had a condo that I was flipping in St. Pete. And I was at the point where by the time I put the down payment and all the fix-up money, and then you have holding costs, which is you're paying interest, you're paying taxes, you're paying insurance, you're paying HOA fees every month. So I'm out of money. Now I have a lot of money. Like when I sell that condo, I'm going to make a lot of money and I'm going to have a lot of money. But now, right then I had like zero. And so anyway, found a buyer, ready to go. We're almost ready to go to closing in a couple of days. And then there's a hurricane comes. This was in Florida. A hurricane is in the box. What the box means is like anywhere, in that part of the world, if there's a hurricane coming, there are no real estate closings, none. So then, how long it takes sometimes for hurricanes to make their way here. And then, so the hurricane passes and there was no damage to the condo, but there was damage to the buyer's house and they had a contract on. So then they had to wait and find a contractor to fix theirs before they could sell theirs Let me tell you, I was beside myself. And I remember, and I'm I have faith. I believe in God. But I do remember, because I do question sometimes, really, God. So anyway, I remember one day sitting in the drive-through at Starbucks, and I'm gonna say, even if you have zero money, you still have money. I don't know how for Starbucks. I don't know how that happens. But anyway, isn't that true? No matter how, like, you still have money for Starbucks. So anyway,
don't know how it happens.
I don't. But anyway, so I'm at Starbucks I always get iced tea, and I'm just like, what am I going to do? You know? And I look up, and across the street was a church, and I could see the steeple, the cross on the steeple. And so I got my tea. Oh, it gives me goosebumps right now. I got my tea and I drove over there, and I sat in the parking lot, and I just talked to God and I prayed. And, you know, it was basically, I get the message a lot. Wait, please wait. And then a lot of the scripture is, again, I said, wait, you know, so it took me a long time to get that message. I mean, a long time to get that message, but that's basically the message I got. Chill out, calm down. It's all going to be okay. And it was. And then, you know, a couple of days later it sold, and then I had a bunch of money again. But so one of my goals is to not have that up and down and up and down.
Yes.
So that has been a big focus of mine.
Yeah. It's like that, you know, with us in the world of sales as well, because, you know, my husband's been, and I have both been in sales since we were younger, and it's tough because it's a very roller coaster experience, like, ooh, big commission, and then, ooh, nothing. And then, ooh, big commission, and ooh, nothing. And it's a challenge financially to learn how to manage that.
It is. And so one of the things when I talked about, you know, my breakthrough is to have some rental properties, and because I always did flips. And so then one of my goals really is to get a portfolio of rental properties where the income is coming in that takes care of the bills, and then the flips are the extras, you know. So and so far that's worked. You know, like I said, I'm doing this Golden Girls community here. I'm doing the office share downtown Sylvania, which I'm excited about that. And I bought a little mobile home in a park, but you own the land, in Okeechobee, Florida. And then I'm closing again on another one in Okeechobee on Tuesday. But I'll probably flip that one. But the other little one I'll rent out, and then I can use it in the winter time. So, and it's all about, you know, setting goals. You know, how do you solve the problems that you have in your life? You've got to figure out what's the solution, you know, because if you don't figure it out, and what I've noticed too is that I don't have that feeling anymore of that anxiousness or that, you know, God telling me to wait, you know, because I have a lot of different things going now. It's not like I'm just focused on this one thing. Right. And that helps a lot.
Yeah. I think you know, I feel like somewhere deep down, we all really like to be in control. And so when there's, even if it's, for those of you that are like, no, I don't, be quiet. Yes, you do somewhere in your subconscious, but
I know I do.
I know that I do too. And so, you know, I think that when we have that support, wherever that comes from, whether it's financially or from a coach or mentor or just a little bit of extra time or something like that, we have support. It can help us like have a little bit more peace and not feel like we have to control every little thing, because it's hard.
Oh, it's hard. I am definitely a control freak. I do too. Yeah.
Well, Brittany was saying before too, I feel like the universe has a funny way of asking us, how dedicated are you really?
Yes, I know. Seriously. Yes. And there's sometimes there are what we seem to think are challenges, but yeah, I control. I've had to, even just the little things like shopping on Instacart. Have you ever tried that?
Yeah. Yep.
Let somebody else pick out your zucchini, and that was hard. Yeah. But guess what?
My husband does not. My husband is very is more control like oriented than I am, and he's like, he will only allow me to buy stuff from Instacart that's not a fresh fruit or vegetable. He's like, no one is allowed to pick that out but me.
Yeah. See, I get that. So the same thing in life, you have to, sometimes let go of control, and sometimes it does give you more peace. And one of the things I worked on, over my life is peace. And so groovy vibes only, and one of the things that helped me was a friend of mine, who, and I'm talking about this and this and this and this and this. And she said, listen to me. Pray for peace. Mm-hmm. But nope. Pray for peace. Yeah. And ever since I've been doing that, I got it. When she said that, I got it. And ever since then, that's what I do. When there's something going on, I just pray for peace. And that has made such a difference. Such a difference. I mean, people that know me know how much more calm I am now, and not quite as in control and controlling. And just like different, like chill.
It makes a huge difference. It seems to folks on the outside like that can't fix everything, that can't change it, but really when you have the peace, you get into a space of allowing. And we know about allowing and the law of attraction, and how then we get the things that we want. And when we're peaceful, we're also not focused on all of those what ifs that we talked about in the beginning, or oh my God, I need to control all the things.
One thing that I heard recently was Rob Dial. I forget the name of his book, Rob Dial, but he has a lot of podcasts that he does. And he talked about like the fear, which causes the anxiety and the lack of peace, fearing something that might not happen. And he said there's no way that you can win, because you can't fight something that does not exist. It doesn't exist. What you think might happen in the future that you're afraid of, it's not a thing. And he said there's no way you can win. And I thought, wow, that was huge.
Right.
And then one of my goals is to encourage people to follow that, their goals, their dreams, and to let that process what we're talking about, because a lot of people get discouraged. People get discourage them, but they also get discouraged themselves by these, what if, and so it's all about the why, what you want. And don't worry about the how. Yeah. And I really believe that, because there would be no way, sometimes when things happen, there would be no way in the world that you would ever know what is going to happen.
Right.
You can't. You have to know what you want, and then just let the universe do its thing. My favorite saying is, act boldly and unseen forces will come to your aid. And it's so true. So true. I mean, it's just like, you take the action, you decide what you want, and then, the universe will provide.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sharon said, Jess and Philip is my husband, need to talk. And I've already, back when we first met, Jess, I said, this is going to happen eventually. It's going to happen, because you all are on the same, page for sure. Is that right? Y'all think very similarly. Absolutely.
That's so cool.
That's the universe going, well, he works a lot, so we're just going to put more people in your way that are just like him. Here you go. We're going to take one more quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about where you guys can find Jess, how you can work with her, and all of that good stuff. So we'll be right back after this.
I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart. I shall stand for love, for the world is wounded, not just my little piece of land, where I am mostly safe, where I am mostly well, but our world, everywhere, every day. I shall stand for love, because we need more light, not more death, not more power, not more bombs. I shall stand for love, so that our children are safe, so that our friends are sheltered, so that our borders are open. I shall stand for love, even with a broken soul, even with a heavy heart.
Welcome back to the Breakthrough Show. Thank you for standing for love with us today. We are here with Jess J. Williams, and we've been all into the world of real estate, which has been a lot of fun here today. And I want to let everybody know where they can find you on social media, where they can work, how they can work with you, and what you have to offer. So I'd love for you to share that with everyone.
Thank you, Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm working on Facebook and updating everything on Facebook and things. But one of my favorite things to do is help women create a legacy in financial freedom through real estate investing. And so I have a free Facebook group called Florida and Southern Women Investing in Real Estate. I really am passionate about helping young people get started in real estate. I was young when I got started, and I realized that a lot of people that are younger, people are telling them they can't do it. They're too young, and I want to encourage them. So I've started the Young Investors Network in a Facebook group. And basically, Groovy Georgia Properties at gmail.com is the main email address that you can contact me at.
There we go. Yes, we have it scrolling on the screen, and we have all of Jess's information down in the show notes as well, so that you can find the names of her groups and all of that on Facebook. And then you got her email, so you can work with her and pepper her with questions about
Absolutely. Yes. I'd love to help.
I love it. Okay, so what's the next thing what's your next big thing? What's your next big vision for your business, Jess?
That's a really good question. My next big vision is the rentals I told you about. So get more Golden Girls, get the office finished and rented, and get the little one in Okeechobee rented. And then what I've realized is, I don't know how much time we have. What I've realized is that I need to simplify my business, because I work 24/7. I love what I do. Yeah. And I wake up thinking about it. I go to bed thinking about it all day long. And so the next thing is to really focus on a certain area and just not work all the time, so I can have more of a balanced life, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel that. So, and it's also a really great thing that we're able to do something that we love so much that's all we do.
I absolutely agree with you. And there's one more thing I want to share, because I think hopefully this can help others. When you're talking about like a mantra for your life, it's taken me a long time, but I finally found, and I don't remember where I found this, but it's, and I want to leave you with this. It's, I expand in abundance, success, health, and love every day, and I inspire others around me to do the same.
I love that. That is so good. It's so good. I'm going to pin that up somewhere in our community. It's going to be great. It'll be great. Thank you so much, Jess, for being here today. I really appreciate you. Really enjoyed this. conversation. And I'm so inspired by your journey, your commitment to helping others achieve financial independence, and appreciate your insights and sharing your experiences with us today and empowering other women and young people, because I think that that's an amazing thing to do. Amazing thing to do in the world.
Thank you, Jessica.
Absolutely. Next week, we will be taking a short break to celebrate my daughter's birthday. So look for us again in 2 Fridays. But I'm your host, Jessica Dugas. Thank you all so much for being here today and spending another episode of the Breakthrough Show with us. And I want to remind you to make every day a great day for a breakthrough. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, Jess.